Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to Blue Falcon TCG, where being a buddy is half the battle. If you know, you know. It's just a joke. Anyways, it is May, and that means it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is towards the end. That doesn't mean we need to stop caring for our friends and our loved ones. And sometimes just a little message or a little act of kindness goes a long way. New person at locals that keeps losing, check on them. One of your best friends, just doesn't seem okay. A little message. Sometimes in our darkest times, all it takes is just one little act of kindness or one little uplift to help bring us back forward. And this is a great card game and a great community already. And the better we take care of ourselves and each other, the more card games and stuff we get to play. So let's jump into our list. It's awesome. It's like I said, Fun Deck Friday. Someone a lot better than me is gonna make a way better version that actually is consistent. I think this is a way better deck in the Eternal or Legacy format, whatever you want to call it. A lot more opportunity for shenanigans. McClunky, for example, a lot of underworld stuff in there that makes Java. If this Java came out in set one, would have been really good. I don't know how they would have probably wouldn't have got credits or something, but it would have been a cooler. It would have been cool. Anyways, we're playing three Salacious Crumb. Comes in ready because we have the Java. It's good. Two of the unarmed credits. We need to just make some monies. It's a one-off, so you technically go zero in terms of resource management, but it does help out later on the Boba flip, Java flip. It is the most important aspect of the deck is having credits so we can get the ambushes on and keep trading or creating a lot of value for ourselves with underworld units. Or seeing hidden raid 2. There's really no explanation. We can bounce it back with Java, so that's really cool. We can, keep hiding her. Bit Fortuna, just generic credit generator. Doorbuster, it's a 3-2, gives us Restore and Saboteur, so we can get around some shields, get around Sentinels, put some damage on the board, and we can restore ourselves, which is also really great. The Hand Rip Dude and Hold for Questioning. I don't think we need to explain how obnoxious just looking at someone's hand as a sniping thing away or guessing correctly on what they have for a key piece or putting them on like having planetary bombardment, but you have initiative and that that gives you game, like loss. You just call it and you snipe it out the hand. Disgusting. Card's insane. Love hand rip in other games. I hate it in Star Wars. Syndicate Space Runner, just an underworld searcher, another value piece. The axe forgets. I don't like it. It's great for like into Leia where they're trying to build a tower up and get a lot of damage off of experience tokens, or into any force deck because if they don't generate the force, you're going to always have value. Contracted Hunter, 3 cost 4/4 ambush dies at the regroup phase. But with Java, if we're playing it on our 4 or higher turns, or if we have an early on credit token, we can just return it to hand and always keeping that ambush in play. It can be a very abusive unit. It's super great. Lurking Snub Fighter, card is very mid. All it does is exhaust a unit. It does come out in plot, so it can save us some games. 3 cost 2/3 doesn't feel great aside from it exhausting. Beguile and Hold for Questioning. I don't think it really need explanations. An exhaust and a bounce. It's like Beguile's the better waylay, and it just feeds into our hand knowledge and letting us sculpt the board as much as we possibly could. Hold for Questioning is a good card. Ruthless Duo is our flex piece of the deck. We can honestly get rid of it and play something else. I don't know what I would put in place. It just feels good off the Java ambush because it is a 5-point swing, so I can trade up on 5 damage, which is great. The best ambush piece is probably going to be our Boba Fett. It's the most flexible. 6/5 for 5, so ambushing on 6 with credits with the Java ability, doing 3 damage. So you can clear 2 units or 1 big unit, another big unit, 3 units. It just really depends on how wide the board is. Because the on play and win attack trigger paying 1, doing 3 damage to a ground unit is gross. Maz, the best card in this deck. Green yellow, 5 cost 4/4. When attack complete, it's similar to Invisible Hand, but instead of just 2 cost droid, which sucks, we get to play any underworld for reduced cost. they just go back to they can attack anything on board, but they go back to the bottom deck in the end phase. So we lose it, but if we have Jaba, it's fine. Nightwind Assailant, 5/5/5/5. Just a big dude. You can cut some if you want. I'm thinking about cutting Craving Power down to 2 and Vermilion down to 2 so we can play 2 Arrests, which are honorable mention. We'll mention here in a second. Playing 3 Vermilion, 3 Craving Power, they're just good cards. Vermilion is like a love-hate. You give your opponent a lot of credits to play some jank off their top deck or your top deck, so you got to guess correctly, which is it's fun. A little bit of a gamble. It just plays right into the underworld aspect. Grand Admiral Thrawn to close out our games is an 8/7. It either comes in ready or you capture a unit, so it can be a saver or it can be a winner. Jaba's Rancor, it's just 7/7 hidden on attack, just can do 7 damage. Kind of good. And then tear that ship apart. You're playing into some control decks, like we got some. It's sauce. It's so good. Let's jump into some games, guys. All right, we got ourselves Piet Red into our Java, which is great. We're starting off with Doorbuster. They're playing the Partition dude, and it's gonna be more ramp for them. This is not a great matchup because one, this is not the best deck. Looking at the Dengar, I think what we should have done here is snipe the Dengar, but we ended up going with the Craving Power, thinking that it was gonna come up a lot later. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of tempo we lose off that. We should have just been greedy and try to take their turn 2 play away. Instead of beguiling it away, we exhaust it. But we know they have a bunch of ships and they can easily play things right now. With that 1 credit that they have, kind of annoying. Definitely kind of want to play Dengar in my Piet just to see how well it does. Not the strongest start or strongest matchup. We could have mulliganed to get a little bit more interaction, but I just don't think that was something that was in the cards for us, if you will. Anyways, cool thing about Java is we can manipulate our own resources and get experience tokens and kind of reuse some of these on-play effects or ambush effects. As I mentioned earlier, it's something we really want to do. Data Vault really helps the game go by a little slower. However, when you're being Piet and you're playing Piet things, it's kind of hard to just like really keep up. They're presenting 11 damage on board. Ugh. Late night. But we're gonna beguile away. We already know what their hand is. We're just silly gooses. We're gonna deploy the hut. We're gonna trigger. Boom. We're gonna put down the droid. We're gonna snipe the card, the MC3, whatever it is. Had to think. Honestly, all transparency. I grabbed my Piet deck and I had to look at how to spell the M's. I know I probably could have looked over in the history, but yeah. Remember at PQs, write it down. I don't know if you can, but do it. If we could stabilize here with how little cards they have in hand, honestly, this could be it could swing to our way pretty easily. In this instance, a Vermilion would have been very strong because we could get rid of it. Get rid of 1 space unit, potentially ripping a space unit off of their deck, allowing us to, kind of swing things in our favor. See there's a Vermilion off the top. That would have been fantastic. Hit for 2, it would have been great. Would have gave us an extra turn, potentially giving us that's a lot of value. So what we do here is we just claim initiative and pray because there's not a lot we got going on right now. Again, matchup's not the best. The ones that take forever. Ended up denying it just because I think they just wanted to claim anyways. I'm not sure. It really isn't much going on. We got the Vermilion. We're gonna do something. What we're looking for, if this is blue Piet, it'd be great with Sentinel, but there's nothing. We get the full matrix, which is great. So we're just gonna go ahead and just kill one of our guys. Hit that quick surrender, give them the good GG, because one, we gave them 9 credits. They're playing whatever they wanted. Now we're going on into the Jaba versus Obi match. You know, it's Blue Force Obi. It's not Virgin Temple. It's just regular Force shenanigans. Got ourselves a good hand, starting off with Doorbuster again. A 3-2. Let's just trade into, you know, a lot of stuff. But we got the hand rip, and we're just going to say, we're just going to do it. We're going to put you down. We do have the bounce that's going to allow us, if they were to put a constructed lightsaber on something for the following turn, you know, let's just do things. But we're going to snipe the Obi-Wan out of hand. Exhausting the Gungi gives them off a force. So this does give us an extra turn to kind of like establish or get ourselves in a good battle rhythm. We're in a not an interesting position. It's that we know what their hand is, and their hand isn't fantastic. Not a lot of tempo, nothing super aggressive. It's just generic Obi-Wan stuff that's just gonna allow them to like push boards. We end up punching with the Doorbuster to get that restore 1. They're just gonna trade it off. We're gonna trigger, get rid of Yaddle, and my favorite play with the Jabba the Hutt is gonna be using this 1 resource here to bounce back our ambush unit. It does leave us open, but you know, we're at 1-1 at 4 resources between everything, so I think we're in a good position here. End up going with the Aura Sing just because we can ambush over the Gungi. If they upgrade the Gungi, it's going back. We can exhaust something. We're in a really strong position here. I think the better position better play would have been to exhaust the Obi-Wan, and then either playing the axes and returning the Gungi, or playing the 2 cost searching our deck, just to keep them from getting experience tokens on the warriors. But we're just gonna play that. Look at our hand, grab ourselves another ambush. And the cool thing is we can replenish the exact same credit token and just giving us the things. We're just gonna let it die, go because we got the other one in hand, pass it over, get initiative. I think that's the most correct way to do. There's a little flash in my background. I don't know what I was doing at the time, but yeah, I tabbed over, that's what it was. Anyways, ignore it. I would edit it out, but I'm extremely lazy and I suck at editing, so we know. Editing's bad, audio is very okay. But let's continue on. We're in a very good spot here, you know. Honestly, when I play this deck, I'm expecting to just get handled all the time. It's pretty funny, but we're gonna use my favorite effect. Ambush for credit tokens. Now this is where it's disgusting. If we had 1 more resource, we're clearing the board. I think them hitting the shatter on Boba was incorrect. They should just traded the warrior, saved the shatter for the Maz. Just because I think they need to get rid of the Maz. Like, it's sitting on the board this long. It's not. It shouldn't. We're gonna go ahead. No, we're gonna keep the Sentinel. We're gonna get rid of the Sentinel. We're gonna hit the Maz again, and we got the Rancor. The Rancorio, if you will. Card is so good. On attack, 7 damage, pretty good. Granted, you don't get if you got to pick the damage, it'd be one of the best cards ever. However, they can pick the same thing that you're attacking, so that's pretty obnoxious. But not too bad. It could be worse. It is a big body, comes in hidden, which is kind of, I guess it's thematic, you know. The Rancor pit comes out of nowhere. Little hidden dude. Not too shabby. But our opponent did take a little bit of a minute to figure out what they wanted to do. We're going to trigger the ambush and just take out the Yaddle. We don't care. We hate the Yaddle. They're going to play some dude. We got the Rancor. And we're just like, yeah, we're in a solid spot. If they misplay and just decide to do damage somewhere else, then yeah. We'll trigger the Rancor. It's gonna. I allow them to take it back just because it just makes more sense. Like let's not make objectively bad plays. Unless they're a doo-doo head, then we're gonna do it. But at least they made the exact same play they made, because I've had some instances on Carabas where like, oopsies, I didn't know you were gonna do that. Let me just play a whole different card, which is bonkers. But we'll just end up trading. No, we don't care. We're just gonna leave it. We're gonna get rid of the Vermilion. There's no way we're actually gonna resolve it right now. If they had some space units, we could do it. All this value is not coming from Jaba, and I think that's the person's mistake on not just reading the card. So we're gonna grab our Doorbuster. If they would have just read that Maz is what's floating everything into all this value, I think they would have traded out earlier on. Grab ourselves a credit token, super great. Oops, I was out of order. My shenanigans. We're going to play the Boba instead. Now we're gonna grab the credit token. Now this upcoming sequencing is I'm a silly goose. I should have done something first. So we're gonna exhaust the warrior. Great, that's what we need to do. Keeps him off the force. So no Obi-Wan experience. We're gonna pay without credit. We're gonna pop the big dude. We're going to trigger doing 3 damage to the warrior. What I should have done here first was swing with Bib, clearing, then Maz. As it just in cases, I hit the Bib Fortuna because it is a unique, and we are running low on our Underworlds in deck. But as you see, this deck is explosive. It is strong. It does things. When it does what it needs to do or wants to do, it is good. Moving over into our game 3, we are playing in a Snoke. I know this is a longer video, but I wanted to have a good intro about, mental health and all the good things that it is when you reach out to your friend and your loved ones. And sometimes even if it's someone you don't like or not really close with, you can save someone. But I've lost a Snoke tons of times at real paper tournaments because they're just sneaky and just making things so big. And sometimes I don't play out to build a tower deck because I don't really respect it until I see it in person, and then, oh my lord, here it is. But we're playing into Snoke Blue Force, something I actually haven't seen often. I usually see this weird like Snoke like space unit, kind of similar to Tarkin Yellow. But it is okay. Ideally, you want to try to keep the force decks off the force as much as possible. I don't know what they're going to do because they don't have a force generating leader. But we're just going to claim here, foregoing the damage on their base, because we have the questioning. So now they have a green and a villainy. We can actually get a guaranteed card out of their hand, and just some hand knowledge would kind of allow us to see what's going on. I feared the Talzin over the Plagueis, and I think that was my mistake. I didn't really realize how strong that card was until a few moments later. We're just gonna swing in and get rid of the force so that way they don't generate it. Grab a credit token. Going to resource our dead on play card that requires a villainy unit. Play out our Sentinel. I hate having to commit such high resources when I'm technically behind, but they're playing blue control, so this is where the Darth Plagueis is bad. Well, it's good. It just says, hey, kill a unit for 4. I mean, it makes sense. It's pretty fair. and I had to read this card. I thought it was just a protection card, like the Darth Kreia infinite attack combo you do with I think it's a fifth brother. But the snow come out is gross. What should have happened was I should have played the boba instead. But this works here too. Playing the boba and just threatening the Snoke damage. Like, I don't think they want to trade because they're playing this weird tower variant of a deck. So it's just putting me on having it, or forcing me to trade after they get some free damage, which is honestly it's respectable. But we're not gonna resource here. We have a pretty solid, just like freak you hand. You know, if unfortunately, if they have another Darth Plagueis, this will be pretty rough. Hand rip's so good. We're gonna go with no glory, only results, just because that card is really strong. Honestly, if that my mistake is, if they would have had it, they would have used it already, because we had the initiative, but they would have just slapped that stuff down so quick. We do have a condemn on our boba, which is pretty annoying. Now, again, incorrectly using boba. There's plenty of things that I should do. In Java before I do, because I know they have it in hand. You know, they're because I'm about to snipe it. Like I'm trying to figure out on the disc what it's called, and they played it already, so I'm just gonna swing over to our. Gotta get the actual verbiage, you know. And if they would have just played this, they would have killed out my boba, which would have been, I think, the ideal situation for them. Or we're just gonna pay their credits. That's just double craving power scrolls. That's a 10 damage killer. You know, they have to keep a blue villainy card in hand. They have to. That's probably why they resource right there, because they needed to keep a blue card. Just cuz. We're gonna swing. Let's see what they got. Obviously not able to produce. They got the blast. Good thing we don't play space units, you silly goose. Let's rip this off the top and let's see what their thing is. Okay, you know, they got a lost and forgotten. Restore and spot removal. We love that for us. Potentially, I keep thinking about bouncing the boba, but I like the idea of just putting them on having it. You know, if you have the blue villainy stuff to keep proccing condemn, sure. And it's gonna swing for 4 each time because it's only -6. Like their sentinel means nothing to me over there. We got time. We're playing Data Vault. We're chilling. We got enough damage, enough to really chip away and just kind of be obnoxious. A misplay here, right? I think they allowing Maz to kind of do its thing is just, I think, wrong. I know they wanted to keep. Probably wanted to keep the condemn in hand. You know, potentially like keep the boba out, but we're gonna play the Rancor for free. So good. And we got at least 2 more turns to play, unless they're playing off aspect aggressive negotiations. We're really solid. Revealing the blue, still putting him at 26 damage. The condemn on Rancor is gonna mean it's gonna come down at 21, 28, 27. And that's just game right there. Sure. We don't even need to do anything. We can just pass turn with resources up. Rancor is gone. We're chilling. And that's about it. You know, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Please check out the rest of the channel. It does mean the world to me.